My good friend Jeff Bodkin and his family are here. Well, he's with his daughters, and they're going to be looking at, and they're working on a documentary film about culture. And so they've gotten permission to do some filming here in the Hermitage. No museum would be complete without the obligatory millions and millions of years man's descent from apes. Absolutely ridiculous, but it is what you have to look for everywhere. They've got to show you 4 billion years ago to now. Really, it's pretty funny. Looking at art is one thing, but looking at it in a grand setting is another. This palace is the winter palace of Peter the Great, and in it these are masterworks. There are Monet and Renoir, Rembrandt's. But the thing that I think is striking, I've been to a lot of places, is this is inside of this giant palace. These beautiful objects everywhere. I mean, to see a vase in a museum is one thing, but to see a vase with something like that on it in a palace, it kind of looks like it belongs in a palace. So these marble columns that you see all around make this museum incredible. And the hall I just walked in has this huge hall as you go down, and you see all of the artwork of all of the famous Russian leaders over the years, and they're in there. As you go into these side rooms, just the architecture itself is stunning. So in one room was Byzantine. I'm not even sure really what we have in this room here, but in the room itself, the room is stunning. This is some sort of a pottery of some kind. But as you're walking out of this room, you're very impressed by it. Then you come into this great hall. All this light is flooding in, and you see the gold leaf everywhere and marble columns. So, like I said, seeing art is one thing. Seeing it in a palace, that's a whole nother. Talk about a room of opulence. I'm in a room of some serious opulence. Behind me, that's all silver, but it's just tarnished. But of course, they let it go just because it's old and it's incredible. This room is just very impressive. The floors are even gorgeous. This inlaid wood in the floor. I'm right in the center of the room. Nothing's really in English, so you can't really find out. That's my only lament here about visiting this. I'd love to know so much about what's going on here. Our family has always had trouble finding a couch that we could sit on, but I found one here. If I ever need one, I know where to come down here to the Winter Palace of Peter the Great. They got themselves a couch. Now, as I was telling you before, one of the gorgeous things about being in this museum is being in the palace itself. And if you look outside the palace window here, it overlooks this lake, and the lake is frozen, and it's very beautiful. And you can see the city. So when people say it's a beautiful city, I'm starting to understand what they're talking about. A lot of people we know like our little room with books in it. In this palace, I'm sure they have more than one library, but this is a library anybody could be proud of. Gorgeous ceilings, shelves. What a beautiful, beautiful room. The palace itself was just very impressive. And I know what Jeff was saying about all the sadness that went into it, but still, amidst all the sadness, it's still beautiful. This is Leonardo da Vinci's Madonna and Child.
Uno solo lienzo donde la Virgen está representada sirviéndose. Realistico, está representada una jovencita florentina con su...
I walked out into this hall, and there are just some incredible stuff in this hall. Battle scenes that are gigantic, and then this entire wall on one side filled with, I guess, military leaders, and this side too. If you look down there, it looks like that's Napoleon, but I can't imagine they would have him here. I have no idea. Wow. Unbelievable. Gorgeous. What's amazing is that you just keep going and going and going and going, and you don't know if you've been in the same place twice. It's gigantic. Gigantic. I don't know.